Hey you, it's me, Amy B of Unity, and welcome to chapter 3, where today we are focusing on expanding. So thanks to you who've joined us for the last 8 days of this alignment program where we've connected with our roots and discovered our perch. And now we can expand in breath and functionality and create more space for all the nourishment and fluidity in our bodies. Yay! I love this part. So we are meeting now with the solar plexus, which is the gateway to our lower body. So this area comprises of the stomach, the diaphragm, and the second brain. So this is all a network of neurological clusters, I should say, that trigger our automated nervous system response. So what am I saying? Yep, there's effectively a second brain here that controls all of our involuntary responses. So this is our resting, digesting, repairing system. This is known as the parasympathetic nervous system, or the PNS, and it's always addressing the balance of energy in our bodies between that which is demanded by our more urgent reactive nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, or the SNS. So we're all aware of fight or flight and what the stress response feels like, to have our heart beating fast, and it's this sense of urgency. That's when we're in our sympathetic reactive space, and more of that in the next chapter as we move up to the heart space. But how much sweeter do you think life could be if we spent more time becoming familiar with that warm, fuzzy, safe feeling of full bellies, and we can relax and digest harmoniously and generate that food into our bodies? Because, you know, we are what we eat, but also we are when we eat. Which a lot of people don't take in when we are all guilty here too of eating at one point throughout the day in front of our computers or the TV or in the car, etc. Or even when we're eating out or with friends, we're still very much engaged in what's going on around us. What we're doing next, you know, we're always kind of poised and ready to go. What are we doing? So you see how, whoa, my posture's up here, we're in this reactive space. You might even be eating, but you're just like, what are we doing? Rather than that nice, open and let it drop, which usually by the time we get to let's let it drop, we drop into our beds, which is not also ideal time for digesting, as when our energy is going into digesting, we're not fully at rest. But luckily, I've got a couple of system hacks for you. Because we're reacting to stuff pretty much every second of the day these days. What are we doing? Instead of turning off completely, it will serve you just to spend a little bit longer engaging into the rest system. So the way that these two nervous systems balance is through our breath. So our breath is our reaction. So if we are heading into a panic, we start taking bigger in-breaths and not spending much time on the out-breath. Whereas if we can spend a bit longer on the exhale, so breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 4, 5, 6, then we're spending more time dropping down into this gateway into our rest and digest and repair. So that's something I'd like to encourage you to do today, is just to spend a little bit longer on the exhale than the inhale and see how it feels. And while we're moving into these breathing exercises, I want you to place your hand on your solar plexus space, that's over your diaphragm, and feel your diaphragm expand as you breathe in, and then feel your diaphragm contract as you breathe out. The diaphragm expands across the whole underside of our chest cavity. And when we focus on the expansion here, we're nourishing and expanding the whole of our chest area, front, back, and sides, our ribs and our shoulders, with all of this nourishment and this extra space. And when we're not breathing in our diaphragm, it's just kind of moving like this. But as soon as we engage the diaphragm, we create space throughout this whole system. And we can just continue with that expansion. So feel your rib cage proud as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, all the muscles between your rib cage are expanding and contracting. And elevate through your breastbone so that your shoulders feel that they drop back. That's another hack there, because we're spending our time, I'm engaged, what's going on, we've got shit to do, to just actually lift the breastbone up and the shoulders will more naturally drop. And just by dropping your shoulders, you're actually turning off the stress response. So we're weighing more into this gateway into rest and digest. So that's where our stomach is residing. So by spending more time breathing and massaging into the stomach, we will be giving messages there that there is space for it, that we are taking in food, but we can take it in and the stomach can be ready for it and we can heal. When the stomach is depressed, when we're just breathing up here and we're not getting much of a look in, then it could fall prey to a hiatus hernia, which is where the diaphragm will squish it, and but whether it's herniated or not, it's still depressed in this area, so it can become a misalignment in the stomach bag and cause problems with acid reflux, whether that's silence reflux and you're getting problems with your up into your throat or down into your digestive system, or it's heartburn. In any case, once these things start, they can then continue to cause more and more problems for us. But if we spend time now opening and expanding our chest areas, then our stomachs, our gateway, will be able to function optimally. So everything we put into it is going to be turning into nourishment, unless of course it's poison, and it's going to be getting rid of that before it does you any damage. So it's a beautiful thing the stomach does for us here. So keep that feeling of expansion coming in beneath your rib cage throughout today. And just anytime if you notice you're feeling like tight chested or stressed out or low energy, stomach pain, or when you're going to stop for your lunch break, you're actually going to stop and spend some time chewing your food and stacking your body. So remember, that's your heart above your pelvis, your head above your heart. And as we've just elevated here, you're breathing your diaphragm and you've elevated your breastbone so your shoulders drop down. Cool, now you can have your lunch. And just let yourself breathe. Anytime you think of it, down deep into your nervous system. Your parasympathetic nervous system is gonna, and when it does, you're gonna, So join us tomorrow, because I have a really yummy breathing exercise and mindfulness meditation for you, which is going to train you to stay open in this space. But for today, keep expanding. And if you know people who would be benefiting from this program, now's the time to share it with them. They will all be available on my website, and I'll be sure to link that below. 28 days of alignment, and we're almost halfway, so I hope you're feeling good, and I've got so much admiration for all you will be. And that's it today from me, with love, Amy B.